We're so glad to have you here with us. It's Friday, June 5th. More on our top story in just a moment, but first let's check your weather. Some history is being made in Washington, D.C. today. Loretta Lynch will be sworn in as Attorney General. She will become our nation's 83rd Attorney General, but she is also the first black woman to lead the DOJ and just the second woman overall after Janet Reno. You can see there we're waiting for this ceremony to begin at the Department of Justice, and Vice President Joe Biden will do the swearing in. He will administer the oath of office. The Senate confirmed 55-year-old Lynch after months of delays, so this is a long-awaited ceremony for her and many others. Now, Victoria, we know you're near the Greenbelt. Can you pinpoint a little bit more specifically where your location is? Looks like we'll be welcoming some sunshine today.
Whole lot of sunshine, and through the weekend, all sorts of outdoor activities.
We just heard powerful words from family members of those lost. They lost loved ones in the Memorial Day weekend floods, and they are still looking for 3 people. There are 3 victims: William Charba, his 6-year-old son Will, and 4-year-old Leighton McComb. The 3 were vacationing in a house along the Blanco River with 6 others when the house was swept away in the storm. 5 were found dead in the following days. Only 1 survived, Leighton's father, Jonathan McComb. And the family members there in that press conference did speak about Jonathan and how he is doing. They say he is okay and he wants the search to continue. Volunteers have poured into the area to help with the search cleanup, but they still need more help. The candidate pool may be crowded, but not too crowded for Rick Perry. The former Republican governor launched a second bid for the White House yesterday, just outside of Dallas. He played up his military service and leadership and put down the Obama administration. And he did it all in front of a C-130 airplane. Our Karina Kling has more from Madison. Music, local artwork, and if you ask me, it's a great place to get a handcrafted bar soap. Today is the last day of the Pecan Street Festival. The Supreme Court is hearing oral arguments in a landmark case. It will determine whether there is a constitutional right for same-sex couples to marry or if it should be left up to the states. Our Karina Kling is in D.C. following this story. Going back in time for some diet tips, and we're really going back in time for this one, to the caveman days. Music fans, festival goers now coming into this area, as well as media from across the state. Also music media too, here now covering what happened in this press conference. There's the thunder and the lightning, and you can see the rain. You see the road here. This is Highway 71. We are just west of the Oak Hill Y. There are cars coming in and out of post, people moving around. The day has officially begun here at Fort Hood after yesterday's shooting. This is Bluff Springs Road, just north of Brant Road. Residents who have lived in this area for a long time say they've seen flooding before, but never this bad. This is Air Force One, the president on board with the First Lady. They are coming in from Houston, where the president spent the night, attended a fundraiser there after his day spent in Fort Hood at the memorial service. Some slid, skidded, or were just plain stuck.
We started down this hill. We just clearly, there's no traction whatsoever. So we've been traveling for 2.5 hours and we've made it a mile.
Almost a dozen cars were in the same spot.
We had to get some gasoline too.
The Holtz only had enough to make it to the airport.
Our flight was canceled out of San Antonio, so we came up here.
And here isn't much better.
We all started putting on the brakes, and then my truck started sliding over, and I just went into a complete stop. You know, there's no sense of me trying to move it.
So these folks just hung tight, while Austin police officers shut down Ben White at Riverside and rerouted traffic.
When they're stuck like this, either wait for the sand truck or just wait for the ice to melt.
Some drivers and police officers grabbed hard hats to scoop up some of this dirt, but then they realized it didn't give the wheels much traction.
We'll see what we can do. We don't know what's next.
Fortunately, what came next was warmer temperatures
Get it all the way to the right.
and some heavy lifting.
This is
Not fun.
not fun, but you have to deal with what you have to deal with.
While people slept high above the streets, down below,
pretty much flooded while I was sleeping on the aisle over there.
Beneath 5th Street in Shoal Creek.
I fell and I caught myself with my hands, and then my head was the only thing above the water.
Water that rose quickly because of an overnight rainstorm.
Under this bridge, I've been living here for about 2 weeks.
And about a month in Shoal Creek.
It's a lot better than other cities, I will admit that.
21-year-old Jason Bryan left home a year ago and has been homeless ever since.
If there was a lot more options for the homeless, I wouldn't have been underneath there sleeping.
He was sleeping when the water rushed in.
I didn't realize I was about to get rescued.
Austin Travis County EMS rescued Bryan from Shoal Creek and another man from Waller Creek overnight. Austin firefighters were also busy. Lightning caused 6 fires, 4 in Austin, including this one at the University Crest Apartments in Southeast Austin, and 2 others in Travis County.
Well, what it does is all that concentration of all that energy hits one point and then causes the fire.
Fires and floods made it a scary night.
I'm pretty sure I fell right there where the water's meeting each other.
An eye-opening fall.
Pretty much at a point of, you should no longer be homeless, is literally the mindset in my head, because I am just about to get off the street.
In downtown Austin, Jess Mitchell, Time Warner Cable News.
I'm actually a guitar collector, so I've got a mass, rough estimate about 150. I could restock this store 3 times. I've got to have storage garages just to keep my guitars in.
Guitars and music are Jeff Curley's passion.
I've been playing since I was about 8 years old.
Now, 30 years later, Curley is using music to help others through his nonprofit Pick with Austin.
The concept is still the same, putting guitars in the hands of young people to give them something to overcome depression.
He's fighting depression by donating music.
Give guitars to young people.
And speaking at events like this one.
We have 5 guitars over here, brand new guitars.
Pick with Austin donates about 150 guitars to hospitals and mental health programs every year.
A weird thing my son did, he had a song that he played, and if I got to play, I'm going to play one of his.
Play a song written by his son Alan.
Absolutely, Alan escaped into music. Each one of my sons has something that we connect with, and he was the one that had the music.
A bond they shared until Alan passed away.
He started having severe depression issues, cut off all his friends, wouldn't leave his room, all the classic signs of depression.
Alan committed suicide in 2010.
Not just this, but other things, the mental health task force.
And now his father is working with Williamson County officials.
And I could tell you with me.
Through the Allen's Hope Suicide Prevention Committee, named after his son.
Signs of suicide, it would have gone right over my head.
We reach out to people who are struggling
with depression and potentially considering suicide.
The loss of hope is the loss of hope, no matter where you live. And that's, worldwide, people deal with that.
Take it and play it. You'll be amazed.
The hope is that music.
I used it kind of as a coping mechanism.
Helps others before it's too late.
My son would have been very appreciative of what we're doing. This was the type of thing that he did. He had this need to help others. And I think that's kind of what we're doing, is following in his footsteps. I learned a lot of things from him.
Jess Mitchell, Time Warner Cable News.